These are all integral. But you have to understand the body you're in, because you have been raised not to understand your anatomy. You are an interdimensional species. You are supposed to be able to travel. Hello, beautiful family. Before I start, wishing you an abundance of love and peace today, wherever you are in the world. I want to speak about a topic which is a huge part of my life. I've had life-altering experiences with this. And so this topic is about the angelic realm and, of course, the beings that inhabit there. And I want to speak about it because I think in the stage of YouTube, and this is saying something, I'm probably one of the more grounded people who openly says that they have worked with angels to do what they do, who has managed to implement that as change in the world and build something through that, not taking any ownership for it. Because those of you who know me will know I struggle to even put a label on this human body at the moment of John, because I see very clearly that the work that was done with this human body and the vision that was passed into it came from a will of unconditional love, the white light of creation, if we call it. And it didn't come from a personal identity, it didn't come from John the nationality, any of it. And so the first time I started interacting with angels was clearly, I mean probably I can say we all do throughout our life, known or unknown, conscious or unconscious, was in 2010. And that was around about the time that I passed through, or started to pass through, the release of the egoic identity I'd clung to and carefully built up with that clinging throughout my life. When that happened, I started to get communications from the angelic realm. And of course, ultimately, the angelic realm are helpers of the white light of creation. And the best way I've been able to depict this is I've had visions where there's a white column of light on people, and we are in that column of light persistently from the start of creation as we arrive to the mother's womb. We are like that noise. And right now you're in the aspect. That's where you are. But on that journey down from the light to matter, there are realms very close to the white light of the origin of creation, the origin of the will of unconditional love. There are realms close to there, dimensions close to there. And in there are beings who know us, and they have seen us pass through their realm down into the density of matter. Now for many, they will say, well, how come you see them and I don't? And this is all a matter of vibration. Every culture has depictions of angels, winged men and women, beings of light, orbs of light. Even our fellow man can be disguising an angel within them. Animals also. And I have witnessed all of these things except for winged human beings. If I'm being totally open, I've never seen that. But I have been guided. And it was through that guidance alone that I got on a plane to Africa. Because they were so with me. And it was clear they were leading me to a better self. They were enforcing me, stepping in when I was doing things I shouldn't do. They were guiding me to do the things I should, and I wound up fasting and cleaning up my life. And everywhere I followed the signs that they were giving me, I was benefiting. I was improving as a man. And these signs come in many forms. They can come in the form of a dream, synchronicity with number sequences, and I had a lot of feathers which would appear in the most profound of ways, and also certain interactions with animals which on the channel many of you have seen over the years. And so one of the problems that we face in the community of humans who have emptied themselves of that initial identity that the system gave them is we are still keen to have another identity. And so what happens, for instance, with 1111 being a sign, a guidance system, people will take hold of that and now make an identity that I am an 1111er. I am not stepping into the undefinable presence of the white light of creation and the will of unconditional love. I am now this character. I have this synchronicity that's trying to get my attention. And of course for me, that one synchronicity 1111 kept showing up in the stories on my channel, that I followed that to Africa. I didn't know why I went to Africa. And now, given the explosive transformation of the area I was in, from nothing but bushland to a village, and there's children, all these children living there, and the charity and the dog rescue, and we're literally building a new dog rescue now. We're starting to build the second children's village, which is like 8 hours drive away from Featherstail. It's phenomenal, but wasn't me. I did make the mistake of taking these events that were happening around me and forming an identity inside myself, and I suffered for that because I created a spiritual ego and an ego around the work I was doing. But the reality was that I was this human talking to you, had made a decision to give up following sight and begin to follow faith. And when I walked by faith and not by sight, I remained empty. And so when instructions came in, and the character inside my brain, John, would have reasons and logic to throw at it sometimes, like, I can't go to Africa, what's the point? I've never been there before. I would keep that out of the way and follow the guidance of Source, of the will of unconditional love, and the angels that are bringing those messages to us. Now, I've tried as well over the years to bridge this gap with people and say to them, look, an angel is a messenger of light, and an angle of light carries photons, and photons that travel on that angle of light carry information and messages, and they are reaching us every day. And so the language is different, because one is somehow the experience, which is always a little more overwhelming and therefore romantically described. And the other is the dissection, the want to understand it and control it, actually, is most of the time where that energy comes from. And so they are beings of light. And I've had this question posed, are they our past loved ones? And I think there is space in my life to say that loved ones that have gone over are assisting in what we do. Those of you who are tight-knit in the community will know that in 2020 I had a dream where my grandmother came and informed me a relative of mine has cancer. And so I called and they said he's fine, but he has a bad back. And I was therefore the first person in this world to know that my uncle had cancer because of a visitation from my grandmother in a dream during a water fast. And then on the other side of that, I have had recently, I will get into how these visions come, I had a vision of a friend of mine praying by the bed of a child who I know who died in Tanzania, sadly. And in that vision I saw the child with the angelic beings of blue light as well. And so I was asked to make haste and contact my friend. And I didn't know why, but I trusted it, and I did. And she thanked me, because the day I saw that, she had it had come up in her whether she could have done something different to save this child's life. And that's not an easy position to be in, because I've been in it myself. And so here we have a child with the angels. Here I have relatives gone, coming in as an angel in my life. So I don't have a full answer there, but I am certain that those who have left us do watch us, but I am also certain there are powerful beings of light who come in to assist us. And they are from a higher dimension. Many will ask, how come you see them and I don't? How come you are guided by them and I'm not? And it's all the story of vibration and frequency in your life. We help heroin addicts in Tanzania. And if you have to go every day into the drug dens, it wipes you out. You're going to be exhausted and drained from all of the stuff that you see, the brutality, the conflict, the issues, the energy. And so when you have to go out on outreach, it's tough. But when someone comes to you, it's much easier. And I think I can liken that to the angelic realm, because when we elevate ourselves to reach them, it's not that we necessarily reach their realm 100%, I think, but they at least can come down and meet us and help us from there. And I think sometimes we can reach their realm, and I think that's part of our anatomy. We're supposed to be able to do this and know this. But for them to keep coming all the way down to this density is very difficult, because they love themselves and it's harmful to them, because it's so heavy to repetitively come into it. For all they do have that unconditional love and the will of unconditional love, they are in that, they're at the beginning of the whistle. Yeah, they're not in the, so they've got a journey to make. And of course, through those dimensions, we have conflicting forces that are of a higher dimension than humans as well, that we have called fallen angels, or bad angles carrying bad photons and bad messages. And so it's all a story of vibration and frequency. And this is why many people can't see them or feel them or know them, whilst some of us are openly stating that without their help in our lives, we wouldn't have been able to achieve that which we have. That we walk in the realm of the angels every day. We know they are there. And so I'll get on to vibration and how you have to prioritize your frequency and vibration to be able to be in service, and also to understand their language, because they don't often just speak audibly. And so many have asked, and I need to show this, what is going on in my life when I have a visual? Because it's visual, it's audible, and first of all, it was always in a higher frequency, fasting. Fasting was one of my main breakthroughs of understanding my journey of vibration and frequency within me. And during fasts I would get visions and guidance. But these days I have somehow grown as a human being, and I wasn't expecting this, but in specific types of meditation I elevate my frequency, and I have seen them. And many of you have seen this with the recent videos about the beings of blue light, who I have seen before, but this year was showing up a lot in my meditations as I'm still recovering the damage done to my physical body through the years and the battles that I faced out in Tanzania. You can't have immediate healing every time, is how I've noticed it, because it needs to be sown in the light, as was witnessed when I said, for some reason in a meditation, this being of blue light came to me and prodded me in my liver, and I jumped with pain. 6 weeks later, I pass a load of gallstones on my own, and the hospital deemed it a medical miracle, and it made no sense to them why my body just expelled all these gallstones. I didn't even know I had them. And so I see they are healing us in the light. And when they heal us in the light, it can come down, and eventually it will reach the matter. so long as there's not too much higher dimensional interception by the forces that do not want to see you elevating your frequency. And so, as this white column of light I speak of, with that sound, you live within there in a frequency range, and you're here in matter, but you have a frequency range and vibration within there. And so when you come up into these higher realms, you can commune with them. And so, of course, everything I've ever shared is still the case. The chrism, the sacred secretion, meditation, prayer, fasting, service to the white light of creation, the will of unconditional love's home. These are all integral. But you have to understand the body you're in, because you have been raised not to understand your anatomy. You are an interdimensional species. You are supposed to be able to travel. There's a great scene in this astronaut movie, I forget the name of the movie, where they meet an Aboriginal and he says, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, my friend's going into space. He's traveling there and I'm here to help him." And the Aboriginal guy says, "Oh, my friend knows the moon and the stars too, and it's an old shaman sitting under the rock." And I get that. We have the technology within us, but we don't look within how to master that technology, so we use the intellect to try and replicate the technology that's in us in machinery, unbeknown to many of us as well. And so what I do is I get, often if I want to have a vision state, which I don't do for fun, I do to better the world. I don't do it for fun. It's not to play with, to escape reality. It's to get guidance, to end the suffering of this reality where I can as a man. That I need to make that very clear. And so I will normally only eat one meal a day, and I have done for the last 8 years. This is my schedule, this is my routine. I feel better that way. So before my meal I will do some yoga, yin yoga. If my body were up to it, I'd be running again, but I'm not there yet in my recovery. So I do a bit of yoga, some yin yoga, half an hour of a bit more power and then a little bit more relaxing. And then I'll go into a meditation. Now life is a meditation, but this is a specific type of channeling the energy in my body meditation. And what I do is, it's built upon the blessings of the energy centers meditation by Joe Dispenza. So if you want to learn this meditation type, go there. That's what I would say. But it's an adaptation of that in my life. So I take my breath and I draw my energy up through my body and I focus it in the top of my head. And of course, I have spoken about this a lot. I have seen God face to face. We call that place Pineal. The Hindu faith carry the spot, the dot. It's very important to understand the power of the anatomy of prayer. If you are being filled with the Holy Spirit, then there's an anatomical going on inside you. Do you need to know that to be filled with the Holy Spirit? Absolutely not. You do not need it. But it's also, for me, very important when I start praying into that stillness that I call the light of silence, where the light comes in the great silence. As it says in the Bible, those who sit in the dark will see a great light. And so you sit in the dark and you do see a great light in time. And I keep drawing this energy up and holding my breath and releasing. And even now, as I do that, I can feel that energy moving in my body. And when I hold it there, eventually, sometimes it can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Most of the time it takes some time, 40 to 50 minutes. I will begin to shake. And this is not uncommon for many people in meditation. You begin to shake. And a Muslim friend of mine, a very dear friend, contacted me and said, "You know, they say the Prophet Muhammad used to shake before he wrote down verses of the Quran." And I can understand it, because you get revelation, vision, insight, direction in this state of high energy. And my view is that my vibration is elevating so much that the human body can barely cope with it. That's my view, my feeling of trying to define, as this human sitting in front of you, these experiences I'm having. And in there, I will witness things. Now, I don't always witness the angelic realms only. I witness other realms that they're in a higher dimension than Earth, but they are not necessarily for the will of unconditional love. We'll say that. They are more for controlling and using, we can call it the realm of the Jinn, if you want, using humanity as a battery for themselves, because they're so separated from that source, that white light of creation, because they're so desperate to be it instead of surrender to it, which is the journey many humans are on as well. And so this is how I am achieving these vision states. Now, many out there are using psychedelics and having journeys with ayahuasca and psilocybin and things of this nature. But it's all about elevating your vibration. And to do that, you need to be quite proficient at being free of your mind. Now, of course, when you are awakened into a non-dual state, you're largely free of mind anyway, so your vibration's going to be up there. But there are tools we can use because not everybody's there. And I'm going to run through those tools a little bit and just show you something about them. I'll be quick with it as well. Exercise raises your vibration. I know, I used to be an avid long distance runner. Yoga does it as well. Meditation raises your vibration. Music can raise your vibration. Fasting can raise your vibration. Eating light, eating healthy can raise your vibration. Being present with your loved ones, with your children, with your pets, is a great way to raise your vibration. Being present in nature is a great way to raise your vibration. But what these things all have in common, if you examine them closely, when you are doing distance exercise, you get a break from the chatter of the mind. Most persons do. In yoga, you get a break from the chatter of the mind. With music, you get a break from the thoughts and the chatter of the mind. If you can be present with your loved ones and see them right now with new eyes, not with memory, not with your mental image of who they are in front of you, but here now, crisp, as if you've met a new person, you are getting a break from the thought patterns inside of you. If you go to Mother Nature, and it's so beautiful, eventually your ego, your thought patterns take a knee, and they say, nothing I can add to this. My adjectives, that beautiful tree, that kills the experience of the beautiful tree. And you intuitively know that, and you get a break from the chatter of the mind and the thoughts within there, and the symbols and the images. And when you get a break from that, you get that rising of your frequency. And when you get that rising of the frequency, it connects to the will of unconditional love, and that begins to rise within you as well. The unconditional love coming through, love for the sake of love. And of course, in that frequency state, in that profound frequency state, you are communing with the realm of the angels, because they too operate from there. They are not down in the density of having a mind which is clinging to memories and experiences and symbols and forming an inner character. They are closer to unconditional love, and to the degree they wish to even assist us through our journey to avoid too much of our suffering. And through my own experience, I can say that living a largely spontaneous life without thought governing my every maneuver, but instead allowing the language of the angelic realm, the synchronicity, which you can only see when you are present and happy with the vibrance of the presence, the clairaudible, the visions, the dreams, etc. They come when I'm present. And when I am in that space, I too feel that unconditional love. Your body was always interdimensional. You've been raised in a system which has not told you the truth about your anatomy. The leaders of these systems who have these societies, they know it. I know it, they know it, you know it now. You have a certain anatomy of prayer, and you can reach higher dimensional forces to assist you in this world that which we will call angels, if you're going to use that symbology. Some people believe these higher dimensions to be extraterrestrial because the two are just a flicking switch of language. They're still with God, no matter which way you look at it, and seeking the guidance of God, whereas others will seek the guidance of higher dimensional beings who are not for surrendering to the will of unconditional love. They are for trying to be it, trying to become God. And so as humans, you will have people who elevate and choose to go here, and those who choose to go here. And humanity can change the course of its epic story if it just learns to elevate its vibration and allow those seeds of the will of unconditional love to begin fruiting from within them and the expression of the human body that they are, instead of keeping the human body imprisoned in the material world, the worldly life, shall we call it. But the angels are there for you, and they love you without condition. They don't care who you are, or what you've done, what mistakes you've done, or what your mind or the world has convinced you are not worthy of. They are there, and they love you, and they want the best for you. And they will get you the best. They will heal you, and then they will heal people around you through you, and then they will begin to heal on a larger scale through those people as well. Reach up. Don't trust me. Don't trust me. Don't believe what I say and say, I trust John, so that's now my reality. This is no way to learn. Seek it yourself. If it can be for me, it can be for you. I love you all. God bless, guys.